wolves and stuff. By me. Now, obviously, the wolves were almost brought to extinction by a lot of hunters in the 1800s. This was a very, very bad thing because of the trophic cascade in the area, from the top predators being the wolves down to the primary consumers and producers, in this case the elk, deer, and willow trees. So, without these wolves, the elk and the deer would eat most, if not all, of their producers, being the willow and aspen trees. And if none of these trees were here, then there would be no songbirds. The producers would be completely overcome by the primary consumers. They even had to ask humans, the people who had taken out the wolves in the first place, to come back and hunt for deer to try and reduce the population. Now, obviously, humans aren't as efficient with manslaughtering a bunch of deer than the wolves are, because if there is not a top predator to gnaw on bloody organs and bones of primary consumers, then they will just completely overpower the ecosystem in itself. There's no doubt about it. Now, obviously, there were some rumors on if there were actually still wolves in Yellowstone, though this was largely disproven to the fact that since there were no trees, there were no songbirds, or even ravens for that matter, with the symbiotic relationship between wolves and ravens, obviously. But on top of that, if there were no trees, there couldn't be any beavers, because the beavers built natural dams and lakes out of those trees. So without any lakes, there weren't as many fish. And without all of those fish, there weren't as many otters. So, by making one stupid mistake of the luxurious fur, they wiped out almost an entire trophic cascade. This was largely due to the fact that humans couldn't take out the deer quick enough. Here we have a hunter. Mr. Hunter Redneck, sir. Is there anything you would like to say about wolves being reintroduced into their natural habitat?
Well, you see here, I do not like the idea of wolves being reintroduced. Do you know why?
I do not know why. Why do you say that?
I don't want the wolves here, 'cause then there ain't no more deer, and then I can't go pew 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 and yeah.
Now we have the whitest girl you'll ever see. Tiffany, would you like wolves to be reintroduced into their natural habitat?
Well, you see here, I just love the wolves to be back because, I've never seen a wolf, and wolves are great, and I love wolves, and wolves, 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 wolves. My kids have never seen a wolf, and my husband, he's never seen a wolf, but I mean, like, he might have seen a wolf, but, like, I'm not sure if he's seen a wolf or not. I mean,
Tiffany went on talking for days. Then we have Mr. Piazza with the pizza. Mr. Piazza, do you think that anybody should introduce wolves into their habitat? Well, yeah, you see, if we had the wolf as there would be a lot of more tourists. So my pizza shop would have a lot of more business. Now we see the scientist, Mr. Wolfenbottom. Mr. Wolfenbottom, do you think that wolves should be reintroduced?
I really do, but you see, I'm not really, here. I was injected in helium, but, I should be okay. I think the wolves should be here because, they're wolves and they were used to be here.
Now,
Farmer Dale didn't want to be on camera, but he was very worried about his livestock. Well, let's see. And Back to the Future, in about 20 years, only 1,000 sheep were slaughtered by wolves. So, you can definitely guarantee that wolves were not a big partaker in lack of livestock. Obviously, you all know that the wolves were really introduced into Yellowstone, but are they as endangered as they were, let's say, 100 years ago? Obviously, they're not because they've reproduced. Starting with about 41 wolves, has grown to a number over 500, killing off a lot of the deer to re-inhabit the producers with all of these valleys, and this brought back all of the trees and birds and beavers to really, really establish the ecosystem again. Now, Mr. Piazza is very concerned about his number of people in Yellowstone, and as you can see, this was actual footage taken from Yellowstone. There are a ton of people there, so Mr. Piazza, you have nothing to worry about. What about old crabby Regnet Joe, though? Now, he's found this great place up in Michigan where he can go hunt moose. Obviously, they don't taste as good as deer because, deer is life. But they still have very, very often hunting seasons. So he was thinking about it, and he was saying, oh yeah, let's go up to Michigan, then we can go hunting. Though, the scientist, he was not okay with that. Now, this park is called Idle Royale, and this park is kind of in the same boat as Yellowstone, though the wolves are dying off because of different reasons. The wolves had came here because on Lake Superior there is an ice bridge. So they came here, a couple colonies at a time, and as did the moose, and they started thriving. Though, come 80 years later, they have inbred themselves so much to the point where almost every wolf pup is diseased and unhealthy. Meaning there's about 15 wolves in Idle Royale right now. But the moose kept coming and are now healthier than ever. So Idle Royale must decide between if it should inhabit wolves or it shouldn't. This is a very small park, mind you. It gets about the same amount of people in a year as Yellowstone does in a day, though they still have a very important and serious predicament. Now, we here at Wolves and Stuff think that one of the easiest and best things to do would be to inhabit 6 or 7 wolves every year for the next decade. Because once you do that, multiple colonies of wolves can form, meaning that there would be multiple packs. And then these wolves would have potentially 70 different blood types to make them healthy again. And then this would sustain the wolf and moose population. The ice bridge on Lake Superior is thinning rapidly, meaning that it is a lot less likely for Idle Royale to receive any wolves on its own naturally. My point still stands on Idle Royale. Hunting laws against the gray wolves have also changed, not just in Idle Royale and Yellowstone, but all around the United States and even the continent. This is because wolves, though not being endangered, are highly protected, so under no circumstances, at least at this point, can a wolf be hunted.